So, getting ready to do our planar analysis of an organic object. So we're going to be doing an apple. You'll want to get the image that I posted of the apple. It's the apple that I'm drawing, and it's from the angle that I'm drawing it at. If you can either pull that up on your computer or print it out so you can have it in front of you, that'd be ideal, so that you can see what it is that I'm drawing. The camera angle is difficult to get both the drawing at a detailed level and the object at the same time, so for now that's how we're going to have to do it. So the materials that you want to have with you are going to be your good charcoal paper, a pencil, and it's good to keep it nice and sharp. I'm using a 2B charcoal pencil. Keep it nice and sharp so that when you're drawing you can stay nice and light, but also have a distinct difference in your angle changes as you're breaking down your envelope and getting a more accurate contour. I'll also be using my eraser cut at the angle that I've shown you, and my pencil eraser to kind of help clean things up as I go here. All right, so let's get started. All right, so the main goals with this first demo that I'm going to be doing here, or when you're first starting out to look at something planar, is to get the basic height and width, so your proportions of your object, as well as maintaining your overall gesture of the object in doing so, and then looking for the major planes, so the larger breaks internally that are corresponding with the external larger breaks. Then I will show you how to take it further from there. So let's get started here. I'm going to sharpen up real quick. All right, so you can start a couple different ways. I showed you in our last class how to start a more measured proportion start, or in the class before that I showed you the like gestural start and then to build on. So I think this time I'll probably start with like a more of a enveloped start as opposed to the gestural. So one thing I want to check though right off the bat is my basic central axis. That will help me get my overall lean to that apple. I always think it's kind of interesting when I go to the store and pick out these apples. I always look like a weirdo setting them up on the stand and making sure I get one with some good character for you guys. I always think it's pretty amazing that these things grow on limbs, on a tree, not touching the ground, but their base is still flat enough that no matter what, they're still able to stand upright. So on a table. So what I've done here is I've just done my central axis, and now I'm looking at where the stem comes out and just the basic diagonal of that stem as it goes back, just to kind of give me a frame of reference for where things are going to start. And then I'm going to just start lightly sorting out the basic envelope. I'm not doing much measuring yet. Definitely the time to do it when you find that you need to. If an angle's confusing, use your sighting technique, throwing it up, checking it against your drawing, do the angle, put it back up, all the stuff we've been practicing so far. That comes out. Right now I'm just getting my basic envelope, and you can start more simplistic if you want, even like from this point to this point to that point, there to there, there to there, here to here, and keep it really simple, or you can break it down a little bit more as you go. Just depends on how confident you're feeling at this stage with your enveloping. And then if you have anything that was off, you can kind of come through, clean it up a little bit, just so you can see those points. So it's important to see, like we've been talking about, the straight lines as opposed to a curve. So having a determined, definite spot of where you see that greatest angle change happening, and not having any kind of wimpy or half-committed curves is good to avoid, especially when planar drawing. So, essentially we're doing a theoretical flattening of a round object. So there are some pretty subtle curves up there, but determining where you see, even in those subtle curves, the break happening is going to be helpful when you sort out the internal planes. Then I'm going to check my central axis, make sure I've got still got a nice lean to it. I even have a more accurate lean, so this is going to be roughly somewhere in here, the new stem spot. So this is going to be my starting point. So once I have this, then I want to do a quick check on my basic height to width. So I'm going to measure straight across from this wide point here, straight across to here as my basic unit of measurement for the width. And I'm going to check it against the height. So give me 1 second here. So 1 unit up should take me right to where the stem from the front base here. 1 width up should take me right to where the stem is inserted into the apple and disappears into the hole. So I'm about a little more than 1 1/4. So yeah, about there. And there's half, so a little bit more than 1/4. I'm looking pretty decent. You can tighten this up even more if you want to at this stage by really dialing in and checking the diagonals, doing some long diagonal measurements to make sure. So I was just checking from this point to the center of the flat line right here on that front leg of the apple, and that's about right there. So you can kind of dial in your 1 1/4 by checking some of these and making sure that these points are in the right spot. So this point needs to be shifted over, and when I look, there's a subtle break here. From this angle, goes up a little higher and then over. So you can do that to kind of dial it in more accurately. I'm not going to spend too much time on that because I really want to get to the concept aspect of planing here. So I'm going to double check one more time that stem's in the right spot. And actually should be up just a teeny bit higher than 1 unit. So I'm just going to right in between where I had it before and where I thought it might be. Cool. All right. So about there. All right. So now that we have this kind of basic drawing done, we kind of want to look at conceptually what it is we're looking at shape-wise, and we're kind of looking at sphere, with a chunk taken out of the top of that sphere, like hacked off, right? And then a cube that's kind of slanted with the sphere implanted in it. Essentially, that's what we're looking at. When we look at this, it is good. You don't have to do this when you do planing, but it's good to just kind of think about the shapes. And then this is also helpful for when we are thinking about how the planes interact. Remember, we talked about shape entering shape. So the part of the apple that is contour, when the sphere hits the cube, when a shape hits a shape, that's where the contour can come inside, become inside, and then come back outside. So that helps give that three-dimensional look. So this kind of conceptualization is helpful for that aspect. But moving back up to here, we want to first, when we first get going, is to just try to establish a little bit of the three-dimensional feel to it is our first step. And so we have an apple, we have a kind of the top, and then we have the slant out. It's an upward facing plane, right? That's kind of the roof angle that goes all the way around this way, and then it cuts in, and then it goes straight down, and then it cuts in right at that base again. So those are the basic things that we want to kind of get right off the bat. This process, when you're doing it with something that's organic like this, is a little bit more searching based than when we were doing like the manufactured object in class, the vase, the other day, or it's a little more straightforward. There's a lot of kind of twists and turns in this apple up there that we are going to try to get. And to do that, we have to do a little bit of searching. So try to keep your lines light, like I mentioned, and be willing to kind of adjust as you see more and organize it more as you go. And that'll make more sense in the next video when I take this a little bit farther. So that's the basic shape of the little diamond shape that's surrounding the stem. I'm going to try to make this flat top part. When I think about planes, I always try to think like if I were to lay my hand across it or my fingers across it, what would be the simplified plane of it. Can be a helpful tool. So I'm going to start with the roof slanting down and kind of establish. So it's right off of this break. It goes this way. And then it kind of kicks up. And then that roof goes out to this break. So do you see how I have the break on the outside happening lower than where this angle comes up to? That either means that this was off or this was off, because they should be connecting. So anytime there's an external break on the outside, there should be a corresponding internal break. And the measurement that I took of that basic angle of that roof where it kicks out is at about that angle. So I'm going to double check. So either that measurement was wrong, or my contour needs more information, or needs to be slightly shifted in where I'm breaking these things. So this actually is up a little higher. So what's nice about doing planar work is that by analyzing the inside, it forces us and allows us to fine-tune our contour as well, because there's a direct correlation between how these parts relate. So I shifted that break up. The angle change from here to here is up higher than I had it, and then that's great because this distance was too long initially. Now that angle is the right distance to there. A little more slanted. So do not fall in love with your initial external. Be willing to adjust it as you go. You'll see a lot of improvement that way in your work. All right. So I got the roof. Now I'm going to just organize this basic top part, which make sure that that's right. And then I'm going to get so there's the top roof, down, and then we have, this is where it still kind of slopes out. And then here's where it's cutting inward. And I'm not going to get too caught up in some of the details. It's really tempting as you're searching it out. We're trying to organize the overall structure here. So now I want to try to get the feeling that there's a corner coming out and rolling up. So right off of this stem, where the stem intersects with that, and that is going to be a path that goes vertical. And this is the corner of that apple, the closest corner, if we were to think of it as a cube coming towards me. So you see how I'm already getting it to come out three-dimensionally by doing that. And then let's get the distance of this top flat part between the hole and where it starts to roll down steeply here. So here the inside comes up and becomes contour right about there, and it breaks this way, right here becomes the front edge of the hole. And then coming back this way, it goes. Right, I'm gonna get rid of this here. Now I'm going to start kind of just working a little more vertically to start lining things up. So basically what I'm looking for at this point is anywhere where I have made an angle change and have a V. So anytime there's a V, there should be something coming out of that V, connecting to another V. So you want to look for that. And then anywhere like over here where I had a V shape and then my internal line went up here, right down here when that happened. Anytime you have a T where there is no break in this external, either this line was inaccurate or the break that's surrounding the T is not in the right spot, or there's an additional break that's happening either inside or outside in that area. So you want to reobserve and see if you missed something. That'll make more sense as you keep going here, and I'll play that out a little bit more in the next part of the demo here, the next video. So let's see how long we are. We're at 22 minutes. I'm gonna just do a little bit of vertical line, and then I'm gonna spend some time taking this a little further off camera, and then jump back on and show you what we're doing. So right now I'm just following the paths that I see from one V to the next. So that's the inside of the hole. So it's coming up and out and then rolling over the top. Go off that V, come down to there, there. So right here I had a straight line. When I look more closely, I'm seeing that this breaks here, and then from here to here, it comes down, and then it cuts over pretty sharply this way, and it goes flat. So again, looking for any areas that need more information. Kind of goes this way and then it breaks this way. So if you have the handout in front of you, it'll make more sense what I'm doing. Ideally, you'd be here with me and we'd be hashing this out together and looking at it, but do the best we can. So that can come over over a little wider. So now I'm getting that flat side to this, showing that it's going this way back. It's going up. And then there's another break right here, so this goes in a little bit. I just have one straight line, so I'm going to break it because that line's coming to it. It goes this way, and then there's a little bit of an apple on the side showing there. And it kind of goes up and then back. So you start to get a three-dimensional feel to it. It kind of goes this way and then down. Here, this is cuts just a little sharper, and then right there. Where it enters this way. Right off of this point here goes up, and it goes over, and then it goes this way. So right now I'm kind of establishing this bottom where it cuts in, so that I can fill in this area. Now this area is going to be the area that's coming out closest towards us. So this is a straight line that I have right here showing the basic angle of this side going up. And if I look at it more closely, you want to think like you're an ant crawling across the surface of it, to kind of help you understand what's happening. And to me, I see it going this way, and then it kind of goes up and out this way. There's a change in angle right here, which is nice because that's where this connects with. So, and this can be a little less steep. I had it this way. I'm going to take it less steep this way. Now let's put it back. Sorry. So again, I'm searching it out, trying to find form. Thinking topographically as I go. Now there's something happening in here that I have not figured out yet. I think that it's going to go this way. If I look, tried to take the best photo that I could for you to see. If you can't see very well what the apple's doing in the photo, feel free to just grab your own apple. And it doesn't matter with the lighting. The lighting's just to help you see more information instead of flatly. So feel free to set up your own apple if that helps. Cool. So to take this further, so I've established my basic form, turning this way, then turning this way. There's still a ton to sort out. This feels funny in here. Like, do you see how this feels like it's dipping in and then curving like this? I want it to feel like it's coming out. Instead of being concave, it needs to be convex, because this form here is coming in front of all of this here. So I need to look at that. I need to simplify some things in here. It's getting a little too confusing. Usually at the spot where the object's coming out towards you, you'll get kind of these points like this that make it feel like it's bulging in a weird way. So watch out for those. Try to find some flatness in there. So like right here, this is actually going to be flat where this line connects to this, and then out of this will form a bulge here. I'm going to keep working on it for a little bit, and then hopefully do another video, but that should get you started. So this is basically the process that you want to be doing in your sketchbook for the sketchbook assignment. We're still going to be doing that. I'll give you the due dates here when I get more of that dialed in. But this is, if your sketchbook, so when you're doing this, and I'm going to show you some examples here in another video of overdoing it, where it starts to feel like a graph or a grid on top of it. We don't want to do that. That's taking it a little bit too far, and that happens, so don't worry if it does. It just means that you're practicing observing planes. Totally normal. I've done it a million times. What we're going for is something more like this, so that we understand how light would fall across the object, and understanding it three-dimensionally is the main goal with what we're doing. Again, just to reiterate, that we're practicing a way of seeing as opposed to a specific, finalized way of drawing. So if you get, if all of your drawings in your sketchbook are about this far and are based on just observing the object in that three-dimensional way, and it's readable as three-dimensional, then you're good to go. But definitely try to take some further and see what happens. Experiment with it. And I'll show you some examples that I've done that are too much, and some examples that are not enough. Hopefully this is not a bad video and helpful. I am new to the video making of demos here. Definitely prefer having you all in class. Hope you all are well and safe and healthy. A lot of emails out there I still have to respond to, but I will do so as we progress here. We will make this work. So I'm going to take this a little bit further, and then I will shoot another little video to show you a few more things. All right? Good luck.